Okay, and welcome back everybody to another episode of Mr. M Rocks. Today we're working on Phat Kids tutorial series. We're doing lesson number 4. So far we have added enemies to the stage and they appear randomly in random location, traveling at a random speed. We've also added a turret, and the turret is able to follow the location of the mouse. If I run the program at this point, looks like we have some errors. We'll get back to that in a minute. But at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of things. I'm going to add an event listener. So in addition to having the mouse follow, we want to be able to click anywhere on the stage and fire the turret. So to do that, I'm going to add another event listener. And this event listener is going to be listening This event listener is going to be listening for an enter frame. Actually, it's going to be listening for a mouse event. And the mouse event that it's going to be listening for is going to be a click. So if I click, this is going to hear it, and I am going to call the function, let's say fire turret. Okay? So the problem with this is, since I'm working inside my turret class at this point, if I click on the turret, this will work, but since I want to click anywhere on the stage, I have to adjust this. Now the turret is placed onto the stage, so the stage is the parent of the turret, and so I add the click listener to the parent rather than to the turret. Now, since this is a mouse event, before I just had a regular old event, now I have a mouse event. So up here, I need to make sure that I'm adding that also. So I've got events, and I have to add a mouse event. And so I will be able to, since I'm working in an external ActionScript file, I now will be able to import that, and ActionScript will know what a mouse event is. So I've got this function fire turret that I need to write. At this point, I will go ahead and make this a public function. And this function is going to be fire turret. And just to make sure that it's working, it's not going to return anything, I will just put a little trace in here and take that in. However, I also need to make sure that I am accepting an event, but specifically, since this event has to match this. So in other words, it has to be a mouse event. So I'm going to put a mouse event in as the input parameter. Maybe I'll name this M event for mouse event. And just to make sure this works, I'm going to trace, let's say I'll trace the words fire turret or turret fired, and the idea is I want to know when I fire the turret. So that looks pretty good, except I've forgotten an R. Let's see if this works. Also, I'll go ahead and I will play the turret. Let's go back and take a look at what that means. If I look back inside the library at the turret that I created, on the timeline I have a sequence of keyframes here, and all I'm doing is I'm moving the turret inside the base. And so it's taking about 8 frames. The only ActionScript code that I've written says stop, and so when I come into this first frame it's going to stop, and when I hit play back inside my turret function, when I fire it, I hit play, and it's going to play that sequence, or that's what I want it to do in any case. So let's go right now to play this and see what happens. I've got some errors. Let's see what I got. Line break. Okay, I need a quote there. And oh, I don't have bullet is not ready. I've been playing around with bullets, so I'm going to go ahead and cross all of this out. I don't want to create a bullet yet, so let's take a look back here. Have I created a bullet? No. Okay, let's see if this does it. Okay, so at this point I can see that I say turret fired every time I click anywhere on the stage, and that includes in these other areas, and so that's good. Oh, it doesn't happen down there. That's interesting. I'm not sure why that is. In any case, this is working. Now, what I want to do is I don't want it just to say the word turret fired. I want to actually fire the turret, and so to do that I need to create a bullet. I will create a variable, and I'll name the variable bullet, and it will be of type bullet, and I will instantiate that with the keyword new, and again the class bullet with a capital B parentheses, and I will create a bullet every time I fire the turret. Now, in addition to firing the turret, I want to put the bullet on the stage, and I want to put the bullet on the stage in the right location. Let's say the bullet we say bullet.x is equal to 300, and bullet.y, the x and the y location, we're setting these to 300, 300. Let's see what will happen right now if I were to do this. I've created the bullet, I haven't added to the stage, and so I'll do that right now, and I want to add it not to the turret but to the stage, and so I'll say parent, add child, and what I'm going to add is the bullet. So let's do that right here, save it, run it, and I see the bullet appears at the location 300, 300. Since they're all occurring in the same place, it looks like there's only one. They're being piled on top of each other. And so what I want to do is I want the bullet to move. So again, what I can do is come into Phat Kids, I'll go into my library, I'll choose bullet, go down to properties. Just like before, I'm going to make sure the advanced is switched on. I've got export for ActionScript. I come into this class and notice that I've already got one line of code here that I wrote before, but it says this variable speed. Just like with the enemy class, I'm putting the speed in here. And I'm going to add an event listener. At this point, I'll say add event listener, so every bullet will have its own event listener. And the event listener is going to be listening for an enter frame event. So I have an event, enter frame, and every time I enter a frame, I'm going to call a function called update bullet, and that'll work. At this point, I'll create the function update bullet, so public function update bullet, and update bullet is going to receive a parameter since it's being called from a listener, and let's see, this has to match down here perfectly. Accept a parameter. This is going to be a regular old event, so I'll say event. I'm going to have to add that up here, so I'll have to import an event, or events.event rather. Events.event, and that's going to be good to go. So now I have an event listener added to the bullet. Every time I enter the frame, I'm going to update the bullet. The public function takes in the parameter, doesn't return anything, and I think that's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at my let's see, enemy class, because I'm going to use some of the same code. Notice here I've got update enemy, ept void, and I'm taking this code, I'm going to take this same exact code and I'll put it inside of my bullet function, and let's see what happens. So this says this now, this refers to, in the bullet class, this refers to the bullet. This .x is equal to this .x, I'm adding to it according to the angle of rotation of the bullet, and I'm converting this from degrees to radians because that's what cosine wants, and that's the value I'll get. So this .x and this .y are going to be automatically updated. Now when I've placed this on, notice I have not adjusted the rotation of the bullet, so I need to do that right here, and I will say bullet dot rotation. Since I'm working inside the turret, I will say equals this, which is the turret rotation, and let's see what happens. It's going to go ahead and start firing bullets from the place 300, 300. So all I need to do is adjust this, and I'll say this .x and this .y. So now it'll have, the starting point will be the same x and y location as the turret, which is nice because that's where we want the bullets to originate from. And now when I shoot these, they shoot from the turret, and that has the functionality that I need. Okay, the only other thing I think I will put on right now is the game area mask. Notice that the bullets fly right off the stage, but I'm having a little bit of problem with that. It looks like I don't know how to take the mask. So in other words, if I, before I put this on the stage, would like to say bullet dot mask equals create game area mask. Okay, and what that's going to do, it's going to call a function, but the function create game area mask is not inside this class. It's in a different class. It's in the main game area, and so this is, if I look down here, create game area mask, it's a public function. It's inside main, but I haven't been able to access this from the turret class, and I'm not sure why yet. Let's go ahead and see what I've tried. I've tried writing parent dot, and that didn't work. I've tried writing what I think should work is main game, because that's the class in which the function, that particular method exists, but that doesn't work. And so what I've had to do instead, which is a bad programming technique, I've just gone to main game, and I'm going to, for now, until I figure this out, I'm going to take this whole function, and I'm just going to duplicate it inside my turret class, and I will simply put this function down here. And what I want to do is, since this function is now calling this guy down here, if I run my program, oh, I do get some errors. Let's see. GA, game area mask. It doesn't know what GA is, and so what I would have to do at this point is simply put these in manually for now. I've got 0, I've got 100, I've got, let's say, 400 and 400. I think that was roughly right. Let's go ahead and see. If I run this guy now, the bullets still, did I do those backwards? Let's see. This should be maybe 100. This should be 0. Okay, let's save it, run it again, and now when I run these guys, notice the bullets do not run off the, when they go off the edge of the game area, they disappear. So I'm going to work that out. I'll put that in lesson 5 if I can figure that out, but in the meantime, this is a stopgap. It works for us currently, but the key thing is that our bullets, when we hit fire, the animation is played. The one other thing I think we can look at is that we can take all of this, and if the parent does not exist, we are going to have an error. And so I'm going to simply check for that. I'm only going to run this code if the parent exists. And since this is in the turret, I'm going to say if parent does not equal null. If it does not exist, it's equal to null. If it does exist, this basically will say, okay, this will be a true statement. If it does exist, I'm going to click my little sequencer here, and now everything's nice and orderly, and when I fire my turret, it is going to shoot right off the edge of the stage. Okay, that's it for today. Bye-bye.